Oh yeah, g'day mate, how the bloody hell are you? Oh, this is In the Back of My Head podcast, episode 61. It's a creative journal, I would say weekly, but I've bloody missed a few of these, so it's a creative journal where I just ramble on about what's in my head, speaking about art, speaking about poetry, speaking about running events, yada yada yada. If you get some worth out of it, bloody brilliant. That's excellent. That's excellent news. Ooh, music to my ears. And if you don't get anything out of it, hey, that's on you for still listening, baby. I thought I'd talk about taking a break. Taking a break from a large creative project and the feelings behind that and the self-doubt that runs through your head when you're doing that, when you do that kind of thing. There's a certain amount of guilt, there's a certain sense of failure, there is a certain sense of lost momentum, there is that sense that, do I really want this? Am I hungry enough? We are bombarded constantly in our lives to say that, like, if you want something in life, if you want to succeed in life, you gotta be hungry, you gotta go out there and fucking work. It's that grind set. It's disgusting. It's capitalism. It's hubris. It's greed. It's many things. And it can be brilliant. I'll actually say that, though. It can be bloody brilliant. I'm wary to be like, on this podcast so many fucking times have I said, like, things against that, grind set mindset. That, progress above all other things, that advancement, that productivity, the expansion, advancement. I'm clearly looking at a thesaurus because I couldn't fucking find the goddamn word. But that very human desire to build something and to work hard, I guess to see the possibilities of something in your head and think, oh bloody hell, if I can think of it, then it must exist. It's a very human emotion, it's a very human thing, it's a very human desire to want. It's looking up at the stars and going, I reckon we can get there, I reckon we can do that. What hubris, what confidence, what insanity from the human race to look up at the moon and go, yep. Strap a bloody rocket onto me, mate, I'm going to the moon. It's insane. It's an insane thing to do, and maybe it never happened. No, of course it bloody happened. There's so many things like that. I love industrial hubris. I love, China's really good at this kind of shit. There's a number of just bridges in China just weaving through mountains that just go stretch on for hundreds of Ks. China's a fuck off big country, right? And they build some big bridges. If China's got one thing going for it, it's big bridges. They love a big industrial project. And my god, the industrial hubris to look at it, to look at mountains and go, yep, 10-lane highway right there, sweet, put it in, yep, put it in. That's my Chinese accent. Or stretching across oceans, you know? Should we have a ferry that goes over to that island? Nah. Just build a bloody bridge, mate. It's ridiculous. And I love that. I love that human hubris. I love that human desire to just make shit, build shit, look at what shouldn't be possible and do the thing. Now, talking about bridges and talking about going to the moon is very different to creating creative projects, to running events and yada yada. But I think that desire to do something, to just do something, to build a thing, be it a rocket or be it an event or a creative collective, or seeing people. There's a reason I think that the grind mindset does exist, and I don't think it's not just capitalism. That's far too simplistic. That plays a huge role in it, because your sense of worth is so tied to your bank account and to your social status. But I think even regardless of such a regardless of the profit motive, the motive to progress, the motive to build shit is still present. I think that's just inherent in all of humanity. And so when I take a break from a thing that I've been building for a long time, there is certainly a sense of failure, certainly a sense of lack of progress. You weren't hungry enough, mate. You weren't hungry enough. I've been thinking about being hungry. I've been thinking about being hungry in a creative space. And I was chatting with a mate a little while back. This was almost a catalyst. This is almost a catalyst for the decision. Anyone listening to this, I'm 100% sure that you understand what I'm talking about, but the Creative Collective Vibe Union that I started 4 or 5 years ago was just taking a little wee break. We're taking a little wee break. That's all. It's just a little break. Nothing crazy. And in fact, we already have a time. We already have a plan of like when we're coming back. We already have a date when we're coming back, which is silly. Very classic me. Very classic me. Can't actually sit still. Can't actually take a break. But I got thinking prior to taking a break about where's my heart actually lie? Where's my heart actually lie? Where do I actually feel comfortable? And so this chat I was having with this mate, we were talking about 2 different scenes that we both have run in at certain times. And those 2 scenes are the hip-hop scene and the poetry scene in Melbourne. And I actually started in the poetry scene, moved into the hip-hop scene, returned to the poetry scene. And we were talking about that idea of hunger. Because in the hip-hop scene, there is a lot more competition. And there's a lot of competition in the poetry scene. There's a lot of clicks. There's a lot of, I don't know, like quote-unquote kind of royalty, you know? The top dogs. The people walking around, people are like, ooh, hey, that's that guy. That's the one we like. That's the one that does the good poems. That's the one that actually writes the good poems. There is still that. But in the hip-hop scene, there's just inherent because of the art form itself. There is more competition and more posturing as a sport. I think that's cool. It's great. Obviously, it's great. None of what I'm saying is a condemnation of that scene or the people or the art form, because this is the weird feeling. This is the weird part about this for me. Is that it's the art form I love the most. As the one I've really sort of been doing the more, not the longest, but the most consistently for the longest, you know, is writing rap. But the stuff that I write is much more closer to poetry. Poetry with a rhythm. And I mean that in a sense. I think that I'm not trying to fit into the local culture. I'm not trying to fit into the local scene so much. And that just came quite naturally with the way that I write. But I love making that stuff so goddamn much. And it's all that I listen to as well, is listening to abstract underground hip-hop from the States primarily. And we were talking about when we read our poetry at open mics, our souls actually come alive. We actually feel that fire. We actually feel that fire inside of us. And it's a different fire. It's not a fire burning to be the most productive, to be the most successful, to be the most famous. It's a fire of just life. To be really dramatic. To be really fucking whimsical. You actually feel your soul come alive. For us. And again, this is the point, is that this is for us. This is for the way we feel about it. The way I feel about it. For me. But it takes time to recognize where you belong and where your soul actually comes alive. Because when I'm in the rap scene, I love making the music, but I really like making the music alone in my bedroom, and then taking it into the scene and chatting with the people in the scene. It took me a long time to kind of recognize it, like, I could keep working at this and maybe carve out a little spot for myself in this. I don't know if this is where I feel my soul come alive. This is where I feel comfortable. And I see others feeling their souls come alive on those stages. And when you see other people coming alive, and you're not really getting it, but you like it, you like the art form, you like what you're doing, great. But when you see them, it's like, oh, okay, so maybe this, because this space is working for you. Maybe this space isn't working for me, though. And that's alright. I'll move on to the next space. I recognize that, like, all my friends, all the people I actually hang out with, all my mates that I would go and have dinner with, that I would go and have a drink with, that I would go and have a chat with, they're in the poetry scene. They come to the poetry nights. I hang out with them there. We talk our shit. We do our poetry to each other. We express ourselves. We open up our souls. That's very, very exciting to me. There is a inherent, openness within that scene, because you walk into a room and bare your soul, bleed onto the stage, and then go, all right, fucking see you later, mate, go have a fucking drink. So you've kind of there's already a lot of walls broken down in that scene, in that space, and that really speaks to me. I really like that openness. I really like that open book kind of attitude towards the way that you interact with people. There is no posturing, there is. There absolutely is. There absolutely is posturing. There absolutely are walls up. There absolutely are masks that are being worn. There is so much still there. It's not free from any of that, but if you're in the right headspace, it immediately offers an openness. And again, just for me. And so that kind of got me thinking. About learning what you don't want to do. And this is a weird feeling to have at the moment I've been trying to run something like Vibe Union for over 10 years. Always been a dream of mine. It actually started as like I wanted Andy Warhol's The Factory. I wanted a space where people would come and just create and hang out. The physical space never presented itself. And so instead I've been running events for a long time. And do not get me wrong, I love running events. It also stresses me the fuck out. We recognized recently, we pulled the plug on one of our hip hop nights a little while back. This is prior to the break. We pulled the plug on one of our hip hop nights. Mainly because I saw there were these other crews that were operating in Melbourne running better nights than we were. Bigger nights. Nights that were catering to the scene that exists already and that understood that was part of it, was really locked in. There was an organic nature, there was an organic connection to it. And I thought, what the fuck are we offering? What am I offering here that they aren't offering? And the answer was kind of nothing. Not really a lot. We offered one thing, which I think was a more relaxed presentation. So there is a little bit more, little less pretentiousness. There's a little less posturing. However, I don't know if that's actually what was desired by a lot of people. Like, they kind of want the showmanship of it. They want the over-the-top presentation. And I can't give that. And so I was like, well, actually, if that's the way this needs to work, then that's not me to do that. That's fine. That actually makes sense. Our presentation works really well in the poetry space. Because, there's no posturing. We go in and we just offer this very organic, often self-deprecating presentation, which to some is very off-putting. Some don't like that. Some enjoy the show. There's nothing wrong with putting on the show. I don't know if I have that. I don't know if I have that in me right now. And so we came to that realization, well, you know what? If there's people who are doing it better, then fuck it. Let them do it. That's great. That's better. It's better for the scene if we don't dilute it, where we don't have the energy, where we don't have that burning fire in us to do the thing. And then prior to this break, I had the same thought now with our gig Tones, which I'm very proud of, because Tones is basically our take on Tiny Desk, and I've always wanted to do that. It's a showcase of Melbourne talent, filmed and recorded and presented onto YouTube, and it's fucking cool. It looks great. Like, just the footage itself is fucking fantastic. The presentation is fantastic. Very, very proud of that. However, I was very stressed on the day. I was very stressed on the day when we recorded the last one. And I recognized in myself, kind of post-gig, that I'm not like jumping out of bed, being like, fuck yeah, let's go, baby, let's do this thing. I'm so fucking ready to go with this. I wasn't like that. I wasn't like that at all. I was kind of going through the motions with it, but with poetry. And again, this is for me. This is just for me. And the point of this, the long TLDR of this is that even if you want a thing, even if you think that you want a thing, even if you think that like, oh yeah, that's something that I've always wanted to do, and then when you get to it, you're like, oh, I actually don't know if this is, because there's more to these spaces than just doing the work. So in that space, in doing the music thing, doing Tones, I enjoy the work. I enjoy presentation of it. However, there is also this element of, am I the guy to do this? And so we've handed the reins over to Tricolor, who was our kind of co-producers on the previous 2 seasons, and he's the videographer, editor. And I saw, they're like, oh man, I think he wants this. He has got that fire. He's got that passion. And we've handed him the reins. He said, hey, can I keep running the gig while you guys take a break? And I said, oh, I'm really wary to hand it over. But I thought about it for a minute. And I said, yeah, actually, yeah. And immediately felt this weight off my shoulders, but also immediately felt, oh, I think the project has a lot more legs in your hands, mate, than mine. Because I don't know what I'm offering. I don't know what I'm offering for Tones. Again, great presentation. It looks sick. But I think every gig and every project obviously has to have a beating heart. Has to have a beating heart at the center of it. And that project, I realized, this is the third, we've done 3 seasons, and after the 3rd season, my heart was no longer beating for it. However, again, returning to this idea, poetry, still to this day, every time we do it, I feel my soul come alive, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't wait to do this again. The number of times that me and Jason have rocked up to a poetry night that we're running and going, oh mate, I really don't feel like it today. And then as soon as it kicks off, as soon as the people are there, like, oof, here we are again. Home. That's a damn good sign. That's a damn good sign that what you're doing is right. That's a damn good sign. So seeing the music scene, the way it operates, and I'm not out with the music scene, of course not. I would like to just play more. I like to be in the music scene as a musician a lot more. But in terms of like running a continuous gig and promoting an ongoing music gig, I'm starting to think to myself, I don't know if I'm that guy. It's exhausting. I think because I don't actually have that fire right now for it. But I still have the fire for poetry. So I guess, yeah, long-winded point of just There's more to these spaces and projects than the actual just workload of it and the idea of it in your head. I think more importantly than anything, find where your soul comes alive. Find your people. God damn, is community and people obviously the most important part. Find the place where you want to hang out with the people every day. That's probably where you should be working. That's probably where you should be focusing your time. And it's so much easier to be creative and driven when you're surrounded by people that you relate to and are doing the work as well. It's funny that, yeah, being in the hip-hop scene back in the day, I kind of every now and then felt like this little bit of a drive, this little bit of competitive nature of like, oh, this person's putting out music, I want to put out music. With the poetry scene, when I go in there and I hear someone do an amazing poem, I just want to be like, oh goddamn, I want to be better. I want to be better like them. And I immediately put the pen to the page. It's very exciting to see people, all of us growing like that. It's very inspiring. It's very driving. And it's just because I like the people. I just like the people there. I just like the people. They're my people. All right, that's the podcast today. Learn what you don't want to do. Hey, if you get anything out of this podcast, then consider slinging me a couple of bucks on Patreon. Or bloody hell, subscribe to the Vibe Union Patreon. Help us out. Do what we're doing. We got some more plans coming up with more poetry books being put together. A little bit of cash behind those would be fucking sick. Keep streaming my tunes on Spotify, mate. I love it very much. Be well. Catch you next time.